Many years ago, I tore a hamstring at a larp. I was 40 pounds heavier than I am now. My life was wall-to-wall stress. I ate poorly and I didn't exercise. I thought I'd be 20 forever and always be an athlete. Reality caught up with me and it took years to get healed and healthy. Along that journey, I discovered 3 exercises that have helped me stay strong and injury-free. So before we begin all of this, I'm going to lay down some ground rules. You should consult your doctor or your physical therapist, whoever you talk to, especially if you have a chronic illness or injury. You definitely need to talk to them about this before you start any exercise routine. If you are feeling lightheaded or if there's real pain, stop. You're done for the day. You could be done for the week. Just rest. You hit your limit. Good job. You know, never go beyond. Don't push through it. Don't work through it. You're going to try and chase gains. You're not going to catch them, because ultimately you're going to overtrain, you're going to injure yourself, and it's going to take your body longer to recover, and you're going to lose those gains. In fact, you could do long-term damage if you keep going. So what I mean by pain, I mean throbbing, tightness, like it's starting to interfere with your range of motion. If you're, generally you know what pain is. Now, discomfort, aching, burning, that's generally good. That's what your muscles do when they grow. When they get torn down and broken down, that's what you want. That's how your body grows. But muscle strains and things like that, you don't want. Make sure that you're warmed up beforehand. That helps you get your blood flowing, get your joints and your muscles lubricated and ready for action. I've had much better workouts when I warmed up. And I got to tell you, it's definitely worth it. I recommend 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps. What does that mean? It means that, also 1 time a week. For each exercise, you want to do this once a week. Don't do any more. You're not going to achieve any more results. You're just going to make yourself more tired. So, what do I mean by a set and a rep? So, a rep is, say you do 1 push-up. That's 1 rep. You do a series of push-ups in a row, and then you rest. That's a set, right? And so I also want you to rest 2 to 5 minutes in between sets. So that way it allows your body to recover, get blood back into that muscle, to get it ready to go again, to replenish all the glycogen and blood sugar to that area so you can give your best effort. So when you do these, pause 1 second on the up and 1 second on the down, just so you can maximize your control over whatever the resistance you have, whatever weight you have. It'll help you avoid injury, and it will help maximize muscle contraction for, the best results. If you can do 12 reps and you can still do 2 more reps, then it's a good idea to maybe make it a little harder on yourself, maybe add weight or go to a different exercise that is a little bit more difficult for you. That's how you grow. You continue to add resistance and you continue to change up your routine to keep challenging yourself. Because ultimately, this isn't a competition with the guy next to you. It's a competition with what you did last week. If you can't control your descent, then you're done. You've hit your maximum, go to the next exercise. So say you're in a push-up position and you're just falling down into it. You're done. You've hit muscle failure. This is exactly what you want to do. You want to just recover, wait 2 to 5 minutes for the next exercise, and then go into that next exercise. Even if you do 3 reps in a 12 rep set, great, good job. You can try and make it a little easier, do a couple more reps until failure, good. Okay, so you can also split this up. You can split this up into different days. So you don't have to do your push-ups, your rows, and your squats on the same day. You can do push-ups on Monday, and you can do rows on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then you can do squats on Friday. So it's really up to you, whatever you can fit into your schedule. Don't get on yourself, be patient, be consistent, and just take your rest seriously. Don't just do it again the next day. You might be able to get away with it for the short term. In the long term, it's not going to help you. Strength and muscle gains take years to achieve, and it's going to take you a while. You're not going to get that 6-pack abs overnight. You're not going to get those broad bowling ball shoulders overnight. It's going to take you several years to get there. So anyway, here are my 3 exercises to help you stay strong and remain injury-free. Push-ups. They help you with shoulders, core, and surprisingly wrists. People have asked me how they can avoid getting wrist injuries in combat. And I play all sorts of heavy, hard-hitting combat, and punch blocking is a very bad habit of mine. But thankfully, I have really strong wrists because I do a lot of push exercises, which means I'm pushing with my hands. And that's put a lot of stress on my wrists, and that's what you want. You want something that'll put that pressure on your wrists, so require them to grow. It also helps with shoulder health, and that you know, it helps with shoulder stability when you're doing these kinds of things. And the more dynamic the range of motion, the stronger your shoulder will be, and so you're less likely to throw out your shoulder doing whatever. So here's some ground rules for push-ups. Make sure your fingers are pointed towards one another. So make sure they're kind of like that. They almost form a diamond, and you're pushing and you're kind of twisting your hands into the ground a bit. Ultimately, you're not going to be able to twist them, but it's going to help you activate your chest when you do that push-up. And that's something that gets neglected when you do a push-up. 2, go all the way down to where you're almost touching the ground, but not quite. But don't use that as a long-term habitual form, because that's not good form. You want to go just about touching, stay above, pause 1 second, back up. We're going to call them by a special little name, just to keep things nice and fun. The new adventurer's push-up. So these are very beginner push-ups. If you don't have a lot of upper body strength, or you're nursing a shoulder injury, these are great. And they're also a good way to finish. So say you absolutely max out on regular push-ups, you can go down your knees and finish the rest. They're very simple. If you can do 12 of these, then you should absolutely step up to the next style of push-up, which is the veteran's push-up. This is your atypical, just common push-up. You just get up on your toes and just do a regular push-up. Keep your head forward and not down, and that'll help push your chest out and activate kind of that push-up a little bit better. Keep your back as straight as a board, and that will help you activate your core and keep your back injury-free. So if you're arching your back, that's going to cause a back injury if you do that long enough. And don't stick your butt up in the air. That means that you're not really ready. So the next one, the Legends push-up. So this is also known as a dive bomber, or a tiger push-up, or all sorts of others. This is a very dynamic push-up position. So this is a very advanced thing. It activates your shoulder, it loads up on your shoulders, it loads up on your upper chest, and it loads up on your lower chest. Arching your back on this one, be very careful. If you're not engaging your core when you're doing this on the up or the down, then you could hurt your back. So again, you have to really make sure that you're doing this right. Otherwise, you're going to make things worse. But I think this is a very useful shoulder exercise, especially if you say sword and shield, or you're swinging your hand, you're having your hands above your head, that sort of thing, and you're blocking overhead. That'll help keep your shoulders nice and strong and give you the endurance to keep that position in place. Now, and again, if you can do 12 of any of these, consider adding a backpack. Will help you add more resistance to an already difficult exercise, so you can keep adding more resistance and keep making those gains. Next one on the list, rows. Now you're going to need a rope for this, and you're going to want to wrap it around a tree and just pull in. So there are 2 types of rows that I would recommend. So there's the archer's pull, or also known as a face pull. This is great for those who want to pull a bowstring back, because it mimics that same movement where you're pulling it into your face and your eye is down the arrow, and you can hold it without shaking, and you can hold that point steady where you want it to be. It really activates your scapula, which is what causes me to, you know, roll my shoulders forward, and that just pulls everything back. And it helps balance out the exercise you did with all those push-ups and those shoulder presses. And I have a real problem with that, and that really helps me kind of combat those back pains that I encounter every now and again. So the next one is the Viking's row. So it's basically just, instead of pulling it to your face, you're pulling it into your chest or your stomach. The next one, squats. So squats are great for knee and ankle stability, and it helps you move around a lot more easily and safely in heavy, heavy armor that your body needs to function and run and hike in very rugged territory under very heavy loads. Ground rules for squats. If your knees are rolling inwards when you squat or outwards, you need to reposition your feet and where they're pointing and where your feet are positioned underneath you. If they need to be directly underneath your body. Just stop what you're doing, reposition, and re-engage to see if that fixes the problem. If not, keep doing it until you get it right. Yeah, don't just keep going with bad form thinking that, oh, I'm just going to push through the pain. Again, that's wrong. Don't do it. And again, if it's sharp or if it's just not right, you're going to know it. Now, if you can do 12, again, consider adding weight. Your legs are very, very strong. Some of the strongest muscles in your body. You're going to need to add weight above your own body weight. This will help you simulate body armor. If you don't already have body armor on, which is not a bad idea to just start doing exercises in armor. They're not always possible because range of movement can be hindered. So I always like the backpack approach because it gives you a lot more range of motion and it doesn't distribute the weight as much as I like, but this is where we're at. So also, if you want to do this in a park, running around with armor, you might get the cops called on you. That's happened to me. So whenever you do this, consider going below parallel. That means the top of your thigh needs to go down below parallel from the ground. I'm going to pause there for 1 second and then go back up. That helps activate your glutes and your hamstrings, which helps stabilize your spine and everything. And again, also making sure that you engage your core. Engaging your core helps you reduce any kind of spinal damage, any kind of back injuries and strains. The night squat. So this is just your basic, both feet planted on the ground and just doing a squat. Now, if you bend forward, that's a little bit. That's fine, just a little bit. You want to keep that weight above your knees and your hips and your knees. So you want to make sure that that is balanced right. If you lean back too far, you're going to fall over. Too forward, but it's okay to lean forward a little bit to make sure that that weight is over your knees and you're using proper form and you're not lifting with only your back, because that's another recipe for injury. So the next one, the fencer's lunge. So this is really ideal for those with aggressive fencer type fighting stances, and it'll help you get more speed and faster forward movement, and it helps you develop those stabilizers muscles in that one leg or the other leg. So especially if you have armor or any kind of medium-sized armor, this is great. This is ideal. So you can move around a lot more easily that way. You can switch up the legs, but I prefer to do one leg, load up one leg, and then switch up to the other leg. Another way to do this is just do a walking lunge, where you are putting one leg in front of the other and you're maintaining forward movement. That's another variation of this one. Essentially does the same thing though. I think the forward one is more dynamic and you use a bit more of the leg, but it's really up to you on what you want to work on.
Hey Kinfolk, so my microphone batteries ended up dying on me and didn't record the last bit of what I wanted to say. So after doing your strength training, you should always do cardio. Why should you do cardio, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. So the reason why you want to do cardio after your strength training is that it helps increase blood flow, so you recover better. So you feel better the next day, you'll feel better for the rest of the evening, and the other thing it does is increase oxygen to your bloodstream, so you sleep better. You just do, and ultimately that sleep and that rest helps you recover and maximizes your growth and your strength training. You want to maximize your effort, and this is one way to do it, and sleep is the best way to grow. And that's all I got for you, nerds. I'm going to send you home with a be humble, be helpful, be honorable. Thanks for watching.